The token economy. We use the token economy as a vehicle, as a format to use the correct principles to get kids to work and to motivate them. The token economy is a program where children manage their own time and resources. They're paid to do housework, etc. They earn and bank their own money. They buy their own clothing, etc. They enter into work contracts with their parents. Now, does that mean they get paid for everything they do? No. Does it mean they have to earn everything they get? No. But a lot of it they do, because these are very important principles. They have to learn to manage their own time and resources, to get themselves up in the morning, to save their money, and to buy their clothes. Don't tell me that money is not a very, very essential thing. We have to learn to manage money, and we need to teach our children to manage money. They have got to. It's a necessary thing. It's a survival thing. You've got to understand. And when your kids leave the home after they're 18 or 19, whenever they leave home, they need to know how much the utility bills are. They need to have budgeted and figured out the budgets for the food and the lights and the water and the electricity and the gas. They need to know what insurance is on the car. They need to know how to fix the car. They need to have these life's skills along with being able to get along with other people and work. Now, I say no allowances. No allowances. And I mean allowance in the sense that it's a gift, that it's a dole. Allowances are putting your kids on child welfare. It's starting them out on welfare. Here, son, here's something for nothing. And some psychologists said, well, give kids money so they learn how to manage it. I do not agree with that. I say let kids earn money and they'll learn how to manage it quicker if they've earned it, because they value it more. So it shouldn't be too hard to understand that. No allowances. It's the gift. It's something for nothing. And do not lend your children money. Lending money teaches them that it's okay to go into debt, which is bondage. Avoid debt, avoid bondage. When you lend kids money, you allow them to escape responsibility. They need to know what it's like to need money and not have it because they haven't saved it. When you lend money, you reward them for not saving, for not working. When you lend them money, you deny them the opportunity to defer gratification. Is that true? Yes or no? Yes. Does it make sense to you? All right. Now, when you lend money, you're saying, I'm rewarding you for not planning, not saving. And so you can't do that. One of the biggest contributing causes of divorce is the mismanagement of funds, and the family is so in debt that they say the biggest contributing factor in most divorces is the tremendous problems with money and the financial problems that brings. Now, age-appropriate administration of this. Yes, your kids are going to learn to earn, and they're going to work. But that doesn't mean you become a nut on this. And you don't go to some 6-month-old kid in the crib and say, we've been to parenting class, Harry, and we don't think you're pulling your weight. And so we're going to... So you start off from ground zero, and you go up to total independence, and you're in taking care of the kid at first, and later on, they have to take completely care of themselves. And so the shift of responsibility starts early on, probably a lot earlier than we're willing to risk it. And we give them this opportunity, and they work and they earn. But age-appropriate administration, I tell you to tell the kids once and not again, and to act, and there's consequences. They learn from consequences, not all the nagging. Now that doesn't mean, you see a kid in the street, and he's 2 years old, and you say, I told him to stay in the backyard, and I told him not to go in the street, and here comes a truck, Mr. Jones says, only tell them one time, and they have to learn by consequences. Well, oh gee, going to be quite a lesson today. Boom, Gee. So where are we going with this? You got to use common sense. So we're not saying be stupid. It is the principle that has to be applied in wisdom and in love, and not ridiculous. Can you take a principle and apply it in such a way that is absolutely stupid? You can, can't you? And you can take it to the extreme and just blow it out. All right, so let's look at this. The token economy, let's look at it. The token economy follows the universal model of establishing behavioral covenants between parents and children, using voluntary compliance, stewardships, accountability, with rewards and punishments, etc. Every contact with a parent should be loving and uplifting for the child. Never anger, never criticism, never discounting, never disrespectful. Always, I love you. But I need somebody, I don't have anybody. Well, sweetheart, I have to respect your decision to be a pauper because you don't work and save anything. What's a pauper? You're a pauper. You don't have any money because you spend it all on candy. Every time you make a little bit of money, you spend it as soon as you can. But that's okay. It's your money. You can do what you want. But I want a puppy. Every time you get $2, you spend it on candy. Well, what do you want to do? You take it. You hold it so I won't spend it. No, 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 no. You have to manage it yourself. The child has to learn to have that money in his pocket and defer gratification and develop the discipline to tell himself no. Does that make any sense? They have to manage it. And if they can't manage it, they're going to keep spending it and spending it until they get so disgusted they develop the self-discipline to handle money properly. Is that a great principle? Okay, stewardship, voluntary compliance. You tell your kids, I know we can't be parents if you don't let us be parents. We can't control you. We know that. We know when you leave the front door that if you want to go find smokes someplace or you want to drink someplace, we know you can do that. We know we can't control you. But we ask you, let's sit down and go over these rules. We ask you, now that we set up these rules, to give your voluntary compliance. Will you sustain us as parents? Will you help us to have a wonderful home here? We ask you, will you keep these rules? Yes, we will. Now, you're under covenant to do it, all right? Because you've made a covenant. Does this sound familiar to anybody? Okay. Now, earning points and privileges. Your children are going to earn points, and the points are going to turn into privileges. And the points are also going to turn into money. So you automatically, right off the bat, you have double reinforcement. Now what we want to do is stop the yelling and stop the forcing and stop the threats. That's what we want to do. Most uninformed parents simply give their children everything they need. But this does not allow the child to struggle and to develop in a normal manner. The token economy requires children to earn and to deserve what they receive. For an example, this includes privileges and possessions. In other words, many of the things that you just automatically give them for nothing, such as TV, having friends over, using their bike or the car, going places, activities, staying up late, pizza, sports, batting cages, on and on and on and on, having pets, etc., etc., etc. All these things, many of these things you've just been giving them for nothing, you are going to now allow them to earn. And when you allow them to earn, they begin to develop a self-confidence. And this is the great thing that's set up. Usually parents say, if you don't clean your room, you can't have any dinner. Or if you don't do this, you can say. And the whole thing is about punishment and control and anger. We want to back off from that and totally reframe this whole thing. And when you approach your children, it's after this universal model of what? Of rewards. And you say, as soon as the bedroom's done, we're going to have dessert. In other words, they are allowed to earn. And if they decide not to earn it, they don't have it. But it's not taken away from them because they're bad. Do you see the difference? One is a very, very positive and powerful way to approach this thing. In other words, I'm going to punish it. No, you can't go to Disneyland because you've been bad. You can't go to Disneyland because blah, blah, blah. No, no. Now you don't go to Disneyland because you didn't earn any money. And that's okay. It was your choice. And I'm not mad at you. But it's your choice, and these are the consequences of your irresponsible choices. And that's okay with me. That's all right. We learn. We never make mistakes we're too smart to make. Did you know that? If we're smart, we don't make the mistake and we don't suffer. But if we don't understand, we touch the stove. Ouch, now I learned. So you only make necessary mistakes. So, possessions, cash, pets, clothes, shoes, toys, toiletries, computer, bedroom furnishings, sports equipment, and tape players, and radios, etc., 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 for eternity here. You've got all these items. You hold the key to the treasury. You hold the key to the bank. You have everything these kids need, just about. And instead of just dumping it on them without them earning it and without them working for it, you're now going to require that they earn it. There's three great things that come here. One is, yes, the house is clean and orderly. They work like banshees and they get it clean. Two, the kids make their own money and they do their own thing and they begin to build confidence and they develop the skills of industry. That's two. And three, the biggest thing is that you're not nagging them all the time. And you're not mad at them and you're not after them. And you're telling them 100 times a day, you are such a neat kid, look at this room. Here's a reward, 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 here's a reward. And you build up a totally different atmosphere in the home, and you build a great relationship with this kid. So the biggest contributing factor of this whole thing, I believe, is that the great relationships that are built up in the family. And the positive stuff that's going on. Instead of screaming, get in here and clean your rooms, you little idiots. I'm sick of this. I have to tell you 100 times. And get in here and clean it. This is a pigsty. You people live like pigs. I'm going to burn it out. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to burn it out. Do they care? No. Then isn't it better to say, wow, what a clean room. Here's your $2. Okay? Now let's go on with this. You mean pay my kids for cleaning their own rooms? That's blasphemy. I can't do that. I can't afford it in the first place. Besides that, they should clean their rooms because it's the right thing to do. Kids don't think like that. Are you crazy? They don't think like that. They're into their territory and their thing, and me, mine, mo. Okay? They're not thinking what righteousness should take place in the world. They're out there doing their thing. They don't care about that bed. They really don't. Does this come as a great shock? No. Now, I can't afford that. They should clean their room because they should clean their room because that's the right thing to do. And I'll be darned if I'll pay a kid to make the bed that I bought for him. Have you heard that kind of thinking? That kind of thinking lurks from below. Now, I want to put you on the spot here. You all have jobs. If you were to go to work tomorrow and they were to tell you, we appreciate what you're doing. It's a great service to the community. We want you to continue doing this for a long, long time. The problem is we can't afford to pay you from now on, but we want you to come in every day anyway because you're providing such a great service to the community. What would you tell them? They say, well, where's your community spirit? You're only doing it for the money? Is that what you're doing it for? Well, I want to tell you something. You pay your kids to clean their rooms because you want them to have money to manage. And you want the room clean. And you want them to learn how to clean it. There's all kinds of advantages. And that sure beats the heck out of fighting over it every day. And they don't clean it anyway. And destroying the relationship. So we're going to set this up on a very positive thing. This is a program of rewarding, not a program of punishment. And that's what you're working on. Punishment, external power. Okay, let's look at this. How do you usually buy clothes for your children? You take $200 out of your pocket. Is that true? You take $200 out of your pocket, you take the kid down to the mall, and you've looked in the paper, and you go to the shoe place, and the underwear place, and the sock place, and the shirts, and you go buy everything they need for school. True or false? And you write a check, or you give them a credit card, or you shoplift it, or whatever you do at your house. Okay? But you go ahead and provide it. All right? There's a much, much better way to do that. Much better way. Instead of the papa paying for that, we have the child. We pay the child for working. The child gets paid for getting up on time and cleaning her room and cleaning the bathroom and getting the breakfast ready and for getting to school on time, for having family spirit. And you pay her for planning the meals and doing the woodwork. And the boys are doing the same thing. And they're doing other things out in the yard and gardening. And they're doing all of these things. And when they're doing that, they're learning to work and they're learning the skills and they're learning to put their efforts into their home instead of outside. And then they have their money. And then they go buy their clothes. So this kid now has done all these things, and Dad has paid her $700 or $800 over the summer. $200 she has budgeted for her clothing for back to school. So off she goes and buys it. Is that a better way? Do you think she will treat those clothes any better? Yeah. Do you know something? That they will spend your money. They want the $100 tennis shoes. If it's their money and they earned the $100 tennis shoes, they'll buy 3 or 4 pairs for $100. Do you believe me? Yeah. This one girl went down there to the thrift store, the second place. Her mother reported. She says, look, Mom, I got 4 blouses for the price of 1. Look, this one's got 3 sleeves. But other than that, they look pretty good. I can fix that. Oh, they're willing to do all kinds of things. They sit there. They will not turn their money loose. You'll have kids that earn money that won't spend a penny. They're tighter than a tick. And others of them blow everything they've got. The other kids will blow every penny they got. They cannot save for a long time. Some of them go their whole lives like that. Now, this girl goes down there and she buys her clothes for $200. Would you trust a 16-year-old kid with $200 at the mall? No. Go back to school. It depends on the kid, doesn't it? But you got to let them do it. You got to let them make mistakes. It's better they make mistakes at 16 than at 26 and wreck their marriage, isn't it? They've got to learn to know what it's like to make stupid mistakes with their money and to buy something stupid. I was standing there one day with David and I said, David, are you going to buy it or not? Come on, we got to go. He says, no, I'm not going to buy it. I says, how come? It looks like a good deal to me. He said, that's 3 hours of work. Okay. Boy, they are tight. Do you think they go around lending their money? Mm-mm. Maybe some high interest and a security. Okay, you guys got it? I'll hold your bike. You don't pay me back. Okay. Well, they get sharp. They get sharp. All right. Now, the same amount of money, but it passes to the child. So how much extra has it cost you to have the kid earn the $200, huh? Nothing. The kid pays the $200 to the merchant. Now, when they're really teeny, 100% of the money they need comes out of the token economy, the family token economy, when they're really small. And they can start earning when they're 3 years old, picking up their toys for cookies and all kinds of things. They can do that. But you don't have a little kid that's 3 years old working 6 hours a day digging weeds out in the yard, do you? You don't do that. Get back out there. I'm hungry. No, you don't do that. You use wisdom. And they need to learn to love to work. Work needs to be a challenge and wonderful, not a drudgery. I want to ask you, how many of you want to dig ditches all your life? If I pay you $3 an hour, will you dig ditches? If I pay you $3,500 an hour, will you dig ditches for me?
Yes. Sure.
Oh, you guys turned right around. Yeah. No, I don't have any job like that, but would you do it? And what is this all about? You're digging the same dirt? What's it all about? Grab a clue. You can get your kids so excited, they go nuts. They'll be begging for more work to do around the house. I'm not suggesting $3,500 an hour, but I mean, would you guys go to work for me if I would pay you $3,500 an hour to dig dishes? Would you? And would you complain about your job? Would you be happy to get up? For time and a half on Saturday, would you come in?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, you've got to understand that there needs to be a legitimate motive here. Now, these kids need to feel this. I remember when it happened to me. I did a whole bunch of work out in the backyard, and it was during the Second World War, and I raked underneath the rabbit cages because we raised rabbits for meat because it was all rationed. And I raked up all those little round things that, reprocessed pellets, you know what I mean? And I was out there, and the apricot tree drop a leaf, and I had it all raked out, all the rake marks. Anybody ever know how that looks in the dirt? All the rake marks, and the leaf would fall on it, and I'd run over there and rake it out, and then rake out my footprints. And I had Dad come look at it. He says, "That looks great, son." I can remember looking at that. And you want to know what went through my mind? When I work hard, it's a better feeling than when I play. I was 8. Between 6 and 12, children need to learn how to work. The developmental psychologists tell us or suggest to us that if a child has not learned to really work and gain a work ethic and a joy around work between 6 and 12, they do not develop the skills that make them feel independent and capable, and therefore they develop a sense of inferiority because they don't develop the skills. And parents who rush in and rescue their kids and provide everything for them deny that child the opportunity to grow and develop. Rescuing parents put their children at high risk for drug abuse and suicide. Why? The kids have never learned to struggle. They've never learned to cope, and suicide is the big, escape. Okay? So you can't do that. A great parent is able to step back and see their kids struggle and fall down and get up and struggle and fall down. To develop character and courage and stick-to-itiveness. Is that right? And determination. You do not develop great character in an atmosphere of affluence. You develop great character in adversity and in trials. That's how this great character is developed. So stop rescuing the kids. All right.